I'm in Charleston and I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to walk around this beautiful city as I have 2 days to explore and see some really cool stuff, so stick with me. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. Oh, it's chilly this morning. Again. I don't know what happened, but I had a few days that were really warm, and then we had rain, and then it just kind of got chilly again. So dealing with that this morning. But I am getting packed up and getting ready to head into Charleston. Again, if you've watched my last video, I'm very excited about that one. I've just heard it's a beautiful, beautiful city, and hopefully I'm picking a good time of the year to go. Again, it's really cool here now, but I think it's supposed to get up to about 65 today. So very comfortable weather. What is today? It's a Monday. Yeah, Monday. All my days are jumbled together. So hopefully that'll help it not be too crowded either. I can just get down to the city and find a good place to park and just kind of walk around for today and see what I find. I don't really have a map. I just have some places that I've kind of highlighted on Google Maps. So I'm just going to look out for those and see what I find. Gotta drink your water in the morning. Welcome to Charleston, South Carolina's largest city. It lies just south of the geographical midpoint of South Carolina's coastline on Charleston Harbor, an inlet of the Atlantic Ocean formed by the confluence of the Ashley, Cooper, and Wando rivers. Laid out in 1670 by King Charles II, it became the fifth largest city in the American colonies within 10 years. Today it is known as a bustling southern city full of eclectic shops, unique restaurants, and beautiful buildings and architecture. Meet locals, shop for great souvenirs, take a tour, or enjoy local cuisine at the historic Charleston City Market. I chose to eat my lunch here at Henry's on the Market, which claims to be the oldest restaurant not only in Charleston, but in South Carolina. I enjoyed a local fried shrimp po' boy. From there, I made my way down to the Battery, a long, extended, elevated boardwalk on the southern tip of the city of Charleston, which led to the White Point Garden, full of statues, historical markers, and cannons. From there, my walk took me to the old slave Mart Museum, which depicted the active slave trade in Charleston before the Civil War. Charleston is also home to many historical and beautiful churches, many dating well into the 1700s. And that wraps up my walking tour of downtown Charleston. Now I'm headed back to the car and off to the South Carolina State Aquarium. Okay, well, I just got back from my day in Charleston. I am tired. I probably walked close to 5 miles today. But yeah, today was just great. I mean, I got in there around 9, and there was a little bit of rush hour traffic getting down to the city. But I got in, I found my parking garage that I wanted to get to, parked there. That was $9. It was $1 for every half hour, so parking was a little bit expensive. And yeah, I just kind of strolled around. I just took off from where I was. I was near the courthouse, city hall area. I don't exactly remember what street I was on, but I just walked most of Broad Street, most of Market Street, most of Church Street, most of Meeting Street. I walked down to the Battery, which is just this stone boardwalk that is right next to the Charleston Harbor, and they're just some beautiful homes. I mean, oh my goodness, the architecture and the homes are just, they're breathtaking. I mean, the colors that they use and the landscaping and just the amount of money I can only imagine people spend on those houses. But beautiful, beautiful to look at. There was even some streets that were still cobblestoned, and there were a few streets that were brick lined, and some of the houses had like gas lanterns on the outside. Just a beautiful, beautiful city. One of the places I did go to was Charleston Central Market, which is this big long building, very narrow, but I'm sure in the summer there's a lot more food options, but right now it's basically just a big flea market, and it's all open air. So I walked through that, picked up a nice little bracelet. Beautiful area, and it's right near, so I guess Charleston has a cruise ship docking port, and there was one in port, and so that area was a little bit crowded because it's kind of right next to that. I'm guessing a lot of people from the cruise ship, but really cool area. Some nice unique restaurants around that little section of the city around the market. For lunch, I ate at Henry's on the Market, which I didn't know this at the time, but It claims itself as being the oldest restaurant in South Carolina, and at the very least the oldest restaurant in Charleston. And I had no idea. It was just right there by the market. But really cool spot, good food. So if you get a chance, if you're ever down there, try out Henry's. From there, I walked to the Slave Mart Museum, and it's a very small building, and it was very crowded. It's a very popular place, and for obvious reasons, you know, people want to educate themselves. And I walked through there. I believe that was $16 or $17 a person. Don't hold me to that, but somewhere around there. Very small, but very informative. There's a lot to read. There's not a lot of artifacts, but a lot to read. There are 2 history program leaders that are there that kind of talk to you and walk you through the museum. And the building itself is actually the original Charleston Slave Mart. And it's quite powerful to know that I was in a space where people were actually being sold as currency. And it's humbling. And there were quite a few people that were emotional. You know, it's a very powerful museum, which speaks to the history of slave ownership in this country and how productive it was for especially the southern half of the country during the 17 and 1800s. So very powerful museum. If you're ever in that area, I definitely suggest going. They try to space people out because, again, it's so small, but they try to let in like 5 to 10 people at a time. So from there, I walked to this beautiful Catholic church. I think it was John the Baptist Church. I'll put it underneath me here, but absolutely beautiful. I mean, there are so many beautiful churches in Charleston to begin with, but this one I happened to see that the front doors were open, and so I decided to just walk in, peek my head in there, and just unbelievably beautiful. From there, by that time I was starting to feel pretty tired of walking anyway, so I made it back to my car. And from there, I drove to the South Carolina Aquarium, walked around that for a bit. That was actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. It's only 2 floors, but some very large exhibits. I believe that was $27 a person. So definitely spent a lot of money on attractions today, and I'm sure I will tomorrow as well. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for dinner and then turn in for the night, and I will see you in the morning for day 2. Good morning again. Excuse me. I had a great night's sleep. Today I'm visiting Fort Sumter National Monument. I have to take a ferry ride to that, but my ticket's already bought and booked, so I just have to show up at the ticket counter and I should be good to go. Fort Sumter is a sea fort built on an artificial island protecting Charleston, South Carolina from naval invasion. Its origin dates to the War of 1812 when the British invaded Washington by sea. It was still incomplete in 1861 when the Battle of Fort Sumter began the American Civil War. It was severely damaged during the war, left in ruins, and although there was some rebuilding, the fort as conceived was never completed. When the Civil War ended, Fort Sumter was in ruins. The U.S. Army worked to restore it as a useful military installation. The damaged walls were re-leveled to a lower height and partially rebuilt. The third tier of gun emplacements were removed, and 11 of the original first-tier gun rooms were restored with 100-pound Parrott rifles. From 1876 to 1897, Fort Sumter was used only as an unmanned light station, and in 1948, the fort became Fort Sumter National Monument under the control of the National Park Service. The Visitors Education Center's museum features exhibits about the disagreements between the North and the South that led to the incidents at Fort Sumter. The museum at Fort Sumter focuses on the activities at the fort, including its construction and role during the Civil War. While I can't say enough about this beautiful city that I really hate to leave, I still have to keep going and make my way into Georgia because my next stop is Savannah.